Hey guys, this is Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto, and we're looking at a 1991 Toyota Hilux pickup truck. This vehicle was bought from auction. It's going to be going over to the USA. These vehicles are really popular for us to get inquiries about, but we don't sell too many of them because they tend to be quite pricey. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have here. This is a 2.8 liter non-turbo diesel engine, one of the most reliable engines ever made. It's literally going to last you forever. Doesn't put out a lot of horsepower, but it will get you home every single time. 2 batteries in it, and so it's not going to leave you stranded on the side of the road. And yeah, the engine of this one seems to be in great condition. 166,000 kilometers is just scratching the surface of the mileage that this vehicle is going to make within its life. And so we'll take a look at the body and the interior and the auction sheet from which we bought the car from. First off, let me close the hood because it is a diesel. That means it's noisy, but it kind of suits the truck. Okay, gonna have to put the camera down because it's a little bit too tall for me to do one-handed, so just give me a sec. Okay, and I checked the oil and the coolant. The oil looks fine. The coolant is rusty though, and so that's really gonna need to be changed and flushed. Even so, you can probably drive it for another 80 years without changing it, but I don't recommend it. If you have a truck like this, you want to keep it in the best condition you can because everyone's going to use these up, including all the terrorists. And they love these trucks because they never die and you can drive everywhere with them. And so this one is unique to, I guess, other parts of the world. The USA never got this version of the Hilux or the Toyota pickup. They just went right over to the Tacoma, which is an American style pickup more so than the Japanese ones. The Hilux here, we get the extra doors and the diesel engine, and the bed is a little bit smaller, but it is really cool. 4x4 diesel and 5-speed manual transmission, which I didn't mention. Let's look at the auction sheet and then we'll compare it to the vehicle. I'm just going to put this one on the seat here because it's up too high for me to read. So what do we have? 1991 Hilux. It says Hilux 4-door bonetto. I don't know what they mean by bonnet. Don't know. Okay, RA grade, and so that's a small accident. Interior B. I would call this interior C, to be honest. 5-speed manual, AC in it. The AC is not very strong, if it works at all. Really needs to be checked out. It doesn't make any weird sounds or anything, but it's not very cold. 161, 367 kilometers. The only sales point is 4-wheel drive, and then the notes here. Right front inner panel and core support dented. I checked these out. They're mild, not even really that noticeable. Front bumper has been cut and modified. Let's take a quick peek at that. Front and rear bumpers have both been kind of changed, and so that's an aftermarket bar or just a bar that somebody welded onto there with the hook. I really like how the fog lights kind of sit in there. It looks really nice. Gonna not get run over by the Prius. I'm glad that's not the neighbor that doesn't like me. He drives a Prius too. Okay, let's see, what else do we have here? Hitch member on the back. Exterior has scratches, dents, and rust. Front glass rock chip. Upper parts of the body scratch and dent. Interior dirty. Seat cigarette burn and ripped. Really not that bad. It's weird that they put that. And dashboard glue marks. Another not that bad. Looking at the body here, we have some big scratches here. Super big scratch here, an A3, and then a C1 here. Now, the auction sheet in this one doesn't tell the whole story. And when you're buying a car from the auctions, this is an important thing to consider. This vehicle has kind of a big problem that was not mentioned on the auction sheet. And that's part of the risk of buying through the auctions is something like this. When you buy cars, especially 25-year-old ones, you do have to be a little bit willing to take a risk. Sometimes you get better cars than you thought, and sometimes you don't. In fact, we bought one today that we ended up winning for like thousands and thousands of dollars less than it was worth. So there is a little bit of give and take there. And so let's take a look. What's the problem that I'm talking about? The body on it has repair marks and repaint that was done really poorly. You may not be able to see in the video exactly what I'm talking about, but I'm trying to show you in as much detail as I can what it looks like here. Take a look at the reflections. It looks like some areas have repair marks to dents, body filler, possibly rust repair. And something like this really should be marked on the auction sheet. Usually it'll say something like refinishing marks or uneven paint or body filler or something like that. If you look at it from like this distance, it looks really great. But there are some uneven paint, like for example the front fenders and the doors, the paint isn't the same shininess. And especially in the back, there's paint wave. Okay, it is somewhat distracting and somewhat disappointing, to be honest. But we shouldn't dwell on the negatives. There is a lot of positives about this truck. And for one, these trucks are really hard to find in America, let alone one that's in super good condition. In general, this one has a lot going for it. The interior is really not that bad. I know I said that it's more like a C, but the things that they mentioned, the cigarette burn and the rip, are quite minor. And the rest of what I don't like about the interior is the smell and the dirtiness, and that can be cleaned out. Okay, so this is the truck that Top Gear couldn't kill. The engines do last forever on them. Like literally, it's the truck that they put on top of the building that exploded and left it in the water when the tide came in and all of that. And so body damage does kind of wear this vehicle well. It said on the auction sheet fade on the roof, so here it is. And it is unique. You know, there aren't too many 4-door Japanese pickups, let alone diesel 5-speed ones. This is the stock bar in the back. Looks very cool and tough. The bed here is scratched and stuff, and then it has this area here that has a fiberglass area that has been put in, and then a hole cut in it, I guess to drain the water or something. I'm not too sure. Maybe something used to be installed there, because they have installed hooks on it in various places. Okay, the tailgate goes down as it should, and it has this nice rubber bumper along the sides, on both sides. Okay, the top bar has some rust on it, and plenty of scratches in the bed. Okay, having owned a Toyota pickup myself, a 1982 model, I absolutely love the Toyota pickup. There isn't really anything other than a Land Cruiser that I like as much as this. And the fact that it comes with enough doors to put people in is really cool. Love the way that the rear tires are just at the very end of the cab so that the fender doesn't quite go all the way around. You see how it just kind of stops right there. Stock aluminum wheels with very good tires on them, and it's leaf suspension on the rears, spring suspension on the front, and it runs a very heavy duty version of an independent front suspension on this model. I'll have you see it right here. Okay, it doesn't look like your standard like Hilux Surf. Hilux Surf sells for a lot less than these do, by the way. That's the SUV version. Some peeling paint here. The auction sheet said C1 on the front fender. That's right here. And then there's some rust here, which they did say the body has random areas of rust, or various areas of rust, and so it's not that bad that they didn't specifically mention that. Here's the A3. You would be able to cut that down to be not as visible, but you still would be able to see it. It is pretty big. A3 is the biggest size scratch that they can mark on the auction sheet. Okay, going into the back here. So we have ugly tinted windows. And they're small doors, but they are doors, and they open the proper way. A reasonable amount of room in here. Let me get in. We're missing the floor mats. So easy to get in. Smells like... I should close the door. Wait. Sorry. That's the police. Oh, he's angry with me. You need to close your door. I'm gonna honk at you. That's the first time I've ever been honked at by a police officer. Okay, I like these seats. It's cool. I like the truck. It's really cool. dirty carpets. This is what the dashboard looks like. Very of the time. Very tough truck. Very much like. No power windows. It has the regular ones. You're going to have to teach your friends how to use these because maybe they don't know what these kind of windows are. I guess it depends on how old you are. See, here in Japan, almost every car from like the late 70s, early 80s came with power windows. Crank windows are pretty uncommon in Japan. You would see all the cars that, for example, like the Toyota 86, many of them here in Japan have power windows. All of them had crank windows in America. Okay, so the rip, see, it's tiny there, and just the piping's coming out here. So I was expecting a bigger rip in the seat there, and I was expecting a bigger cigarette burn than this. That can be pinched up pretty easily. There are a couple of other cigarette burns right here, but they're kind of small. Okay, this part's really weird. Look, there's a circular pattern around here of dirtiness. It's like the person's hand was extremely dirty when doing this, but because you hold it like this, it would be the back of their hand that's really dirty, that's dirtying this up. Really weird. You clean this and you clean the rest of the interior and make it smell nice, it's going to really show off the vehicle a lot better. Cracked gauge panel there, that's a shame. Here's the glue marks on the dashboard, can be easily taken off. Has been smoked in, kind of smells like cigarettes, kind of smells like old dirty car more than anything else. 5-speed, amazing 5-speed. You can shift it without putting the clutch in, it's so strong. I mean, you can do that with any transmission, but I don't recommend that you do it unless it's one of these trucks. When I had one myself, I would always drive it without putting the clutch in, just because I thought it was more fun to match RPMs like that. You get your regular 2-wheel drive and your 4-wheel drive, which you have to go out and manually lock yourself, and then a 4-low if you need to go climb mountains. And these are like goats. They prefer to be on the mountains than they do on the streets. Missing carpet there, got some wires down there, and you have a rubbery mat here. A couple of screw holes down there. Everything other than the AC seems to work really well. The power steering is good, the brakes are good, the clutch is good. The ugly screen is, I don't know if it's good. It's ugly, it has to go. I don't even know if you can turn it on. Okay, and Subaru tape deck. That's kind of ironic. Okay, gonna pop out here. Oh, look at this. That's JDM toothpicks. So you want a toothpick, just pull one out and stick it in your mouth, and then when you want to refill, you just put them in there. Joking aside, please don't put those into your mouth. Okay, so that's going to be the end of this video. Hope that you enjoyed it. We don't get too many of these trucks on the channel, and so enjoy it while it's here. And yeah, it's not terrible. It does need some things, and that'll be the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.